We are 2 days away from the start of the World Series. Phillies and Astros will meet for just the second time in the playoffs. Game 1 is Friday at 8:03 p.m. Eastern. Including the playoffs, the Astros' last loss of the season was back on October 3rd against the Phillies. They have been hot so far in the postseason. Now we get ready for the Fall Classic. We bring in our World Series champ, Will Middlebrooks. Will, a lot of times these series can come down to who has the edge in certain spots. So we're going to break down a few positions, and you tell us what you like and who you give the advantage to there. Let's start with catching, because getting runners on base and moving them over always key this late in the season, puts pressure on those catchers and their defense. When we take into account offense and defense, who do you like more between the Astros and the Phillies, JT Realmuto and Martin Maldonado, who will factor in right here?
Yeah, so before I get into the catcher position, I just want to say, luckily, we don't have to debate the designated hitter spot because Bryce Harper and Yordan Alvarez would be really tough to pick one. But Dusty Baker did us a favor, man. He started Yordan Alvarez most of these games in left field, so we don't have to talk about it. So let's move on. Let's talk catchers instead. That's way easier. All right, number one, advantage Phillies, JT Realmuto. But the Astros have searched all year up and down for offense, some type of production offensively from this position. They traded for Christian Vasquez from Boston. The deadline picked him up. He's a good hitter, but he's platooning with Martin Maldonado, who's very good defensively. He puts the right fingers down. He's got a really good relationship with the pitching staff there. But JT Realmuto is a beast, man. I mean, this guy, his defensive abilities through the roof. He's one of the best catch and throw catchers in all the game. 44% of the time he throws out base stealers, which is top of the game. He had an 820 OPS. He can give you a bat in the middle of the order to hit homers, go deep, hit doubles, drive them in. But his defensive ability, he is the best defensive catcher in all of baseball. He doesn't get talked about near enough. He is the best all-around catcher in all of baseball. So this one isn't relatively close, in my opinion.
Realmuto hitting .244 with 2 homers this postseason compared to just a .214, which Maldonado was sitting at. Over also in the field, 2 rookie 25-year-old shortstops, Bryson Stott for the Phillies, Jeremy Pena for the Astros. Pena coming off those ALCS MVP honors. Stott hitting .200 and has struck out 7 times this postseason. In this situation, you got a guy who's hot, a guy who's scuffling a little bit. Who are you giving the advantage to?
Yeah, like you said, 2 rookie shortstops in the World Series, which is pretty cool in my opinion. I think both of them have actually played a pretty big part in getting their teams to this point. Bryson Stott had a really tough first half. He hit under 200. He played good defense, but he just wasn't good with the bat. In the second half, he hit almost 280. He made great plays defensively. He doesn't have many knocks in the postseason, but he got some big ones. He got a few doubles and some big spots for them. But Jeremy Pena, I mean, this is one of the most impressive rookies we've seen in all of baseball this year. I mean, he came in and filled Carlos Correa's shoes, in my opinion, flawlessly. The expectations are through the roof. He's a rookie. He's kind of figuring himself out in the big leagues. And man, has he turned it up a notch in this postseason. That homer that sent the Astros to the ALCS, and then more power in that pennant clincher. This kid is the real deal, and he's going to be around for a long time. Bryson Stott's a good player, but he's no Jeremy Pena.
Pulling up on the postseason stage, certainly really big when you're able to do it as a rookie. Let's look at the bullpen now. Postseason, the Phillies' ERA is 3.19. Astros, they haven't lost, of course, in the playoffs. That means you've got to get it done with your bullpen. The regular season, they were solid at 2.80 ERA. Who do you give the advantage to in this situation here?
Yeah, I think in a lot of situations where you're breaking down things like this and positions, you talk starting pitching. But I got to go bullpen here because these games are going to be close, right? You're looking at division series, conference series, you get into the World Series, they're really close baseball games. You rarely see blowouts. And it comes down to analytical matchups down the stretch in the 7th, 8th, 9th inning. And with that said, this is way closer than if you had asked me 2 months ago, I would have said a million times Astros. It doesn't matter. It's not even close. It's close right now. I think the Phillies have found a really effective equation of Jose Alvarado, Sir Anthony Dominguez, David Robertson, even Zach Eflin. But the Astros pen, they're just so nasty. They're so nasty, and they've been this good all year. They've been consistent from day one in April. And I think, they have the lowest ERA in all bullpen, all 30 teams, 2.8 ERA. They're deep, they're interchangeable. You can literally plug any of their bullpen arms in any situations. They have reverse splits so they can get righties and lefties out. And they come through. Outside of their closer, Ryan Presley, you can plug in anyone, anywhere. And I think that's going to play huge in this series with some big right-handed, big left-handed bats for the Phillies that are interchangeable in that lineup. So you're not going to be able to bring in just one righty to get righties or just one lefty. You're going to have to mix and match and have guys who can get both of them out. So for that reason, I'm going to go with vintage Astros here.
It's hard to draw up more nerve-wracking situations in the postseason when you're in the bullpen than in the World Series. So a lot of experience there for the Astros side. They're favored to win it all at -190. But who is your pick to claim the World Series?
My brain tells me Astros in 6, but my heart and my soul are screaming Phillies in 7. And my heart and soul always wins, all right? So Phillies in 7. I'm going to get yelled at for that. Jim Bowden yelled at me yesterday, called me an idiot for it. But I'm sticking to my guns here, all right? The Phillies are hot. They got mojo. They got that confidence. Their worst enemy right now are these 4 days off. It's great. They get to reset their starting pitching. They get to rest their bullpen so they can match up with those horses that the Houston Astros have. But that lineup wishes they played the very next day after that NLCS because they can keep rolling. But if there's one thing we've learned from this postseason, it's not always the best team on paper that wins. If that was the case, the Mets, the Braves, the Dodgers, who won 111 games, they would be in this position right now, and they're not. It's the hot team. It's the team with the most momentum, and it reminds me a lot of 2013 Boston Red Sox that I was a part of, who was picked to get dead last in our division. Scratch, claw your way. You're always up for a fight. You hope the other team's ace is going because you're up for the challenge. That's just the mentality of the Phillies right now, and I'm going to roll with that any day of the week.
If the Astros do fall, that will be their 3rd straight World Series where they lost to a team from the NL East. He's Will Middlebrooks. Thank you very much. Let's look at that World Series schedule. The Astros have won 4 of their last 5 home games against the Phillies. That dates back to 2012. The Phillies, though, won 9 of their last 11 home games against the Astros from 2011 to 2017. Games 1 and 2 are in Houston, back-to-back, Friday and Saturday. World Series right around the corner.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.